All right, guys, the creator has told us to put our wrestling antics and tiresome wait for shadow generations on hold to do this tier list.
A Smash Bros. Character tier list, and one of Brawl no less. What's the creator's reason for making us do this?
Simply put, he hopes ranking these characters in a casual manner will trigger Game Producer 6 and Broadway, two fellow presidential AI creators who basically tore him apart mentally for his Brawl skills.
Damn, our creator sure is one petty idiot. But I can respect the effort to want to go above and beyond the Call of Duty over a stupid topic like this.
Well then, let's waste no time and get on with this. Starting with the King of the Koopas.
He got absolutely bullied week in and week out on Melee, but with some much needed nerfs to certain characters, it gives Bowser more of a chance to make a name for himself here in Brawl. An underdog story. It's just like my rise to presidency in a nutshell.
God, I'm so glad I don't have to put up with the politics side of you anymore.
That hurts to hear, Joe. I miss going up against you for the keys to the White House.
In his own way, Donald has a point, though. Bowser no longer feels like a complete burden to play with anymore, but there's no question that the guy can still be severely outclassed in Brawl. It's nowhere as bad as Melee, though. Combined with the power he brings to his matches, I think he deserves a B tier. A solid start to the list.
If someone like Bowser is going in B tier, then surely the captain is going into one of the higher ones, right?
Oh, of course. But I don't think he's S tier. Sure, he's incredibly fast, as well as incredibly powerful. I mean, the Falcon Punch speaks for itself. But even with all of that, I'd still argue there's something missing here that stops him from getting into S.
I hate him because he reminds me of Ganondorf. And nothing should ever remind you of him when it comes to this game.
If the old man of our group doesn't even like the old man of this game, then clearly there's no hope for the guy.
We're digressing a bit. I'd say the Falcon barely misses out on the S tier, but we'll give the man a solid A. Next up is Charizard. I guess we're ranking Pokemon trainers' partners individually on this list.
Makes sense to do that and give each of the three Pokemon their own spotlight.
If Charizard wants a spotlight, he's going to have to make it with his own flames because this lizard is hot garbage in this game.
Charizard is a dragon.
Shut up, Joe. We're not opening up that can of Wugtrios.
This was pre-Flare Blitz Charizard in Smash. The lizard is missing that key deadly impact move, which gave the developers the confidence to make it a solo act in Smash 4 in the first place. Without that big red button, though, Charizard is severely underpowered compared to the hard hitters of this game.
Well said, Trump. But I don't think Charizard is unplayable in Brawl. So let's stick the lizard in C tier.
Diddy Kong? Trash?
Come on, Trump Diddy is the coolest character in the game.
Joe, please, for the love of God, never say that again.
What do you mean?
Yes, don't. You seriously need to go look at the news or something.
Come on, though, Barack. Please tell me I'm onto something.
Right? Yeah, sorry, Donald. But no, I can't agree with you wanting to put the little Kong in D. He's got some pretty nimble maneuverability, as well as a really cool recovery with his jetpack. I'll give you a C tier, but nothing less. Can we agree on that?
I guess that works. I mean, it's not like he's the worst character in the game, I guess.
Now remember those downgrades we were talking about during Bowser's segment? Well, here's patient zero of that.
Look at how they massacred my boy.
What the hell is wrong with him?
Donald's the melee man of the group, so he took Falco's nerf personally.
When I get reelected, I swear I'm going to make Brawl Falco great again.
It's really not that deep. It's not like Falco is unplayable or anything. He can still be a good choice to play
Yeah,
as.
but compared to Melee, he's a shell of his former self. That speed nerf practically kills his playset.
Where would you rank him then?
I don't care. My heart hurts too much.
That might be the apple pie from earlier.
Screw you.
Let's just stick Falco in B and move on.
Now Fox, for the most part, retains the title as one of the elite of the roster. He may not be the main man on campus, but I'm still happy enough with his Brawl showing.
You're only saying it's just good enough because you no longer have those stupid game-breaking glitches from Melee to enhance Fox's usefulness.
No, stop calling them glitches.
You and Game Producer 6 can say whatever you want. You know damn well that that's what they are.
You could never understand Obama. Now go ahead and put Fox in S tier.
Fine, for the time being, I'll put him in there, but I guarantee this will probably change later. Ganon, get your ass in D.
Enough said.
Let's push forward.
Can we stick the Ice Climbers in there too? They annoy me nearly as much as Kamala has been doing all year.
Absolutely not. This is like bringing a friend with you to take on the other fighters together as one unit. I love the concept. And it broke my heart when they got booted out of the roster in Smash 4.
All right, fine, for the tag team concept alone, I'll stick the duo in C. What do you guys think about Ike?
I think Shai Kong's version of myself showcased the downfall of Ike in a nutshell when he tried to use him in that first to 5 Ultimate video. That being said, Ike was more of a man than even William Regal back in the Brawl days. His power was practically unmatched.
As well as being able to deliver a vicious counter blow too, if the player was good enough to use it at the right time. Barry, stick the man in A.
Now, as for Ivysaur, this is a difficult one. In my opinion, the giant cabbage is the worst out of Pokemon trainers' partners. But is this a D-tier worthy fighter?
This is definitely the worst we've seen of the Soar in the Smash games. But I can't say it deserves the D tier. Unlike Ganon, I've actually been able to clutch some wins using this dinosaur-looking
The
plant.
political side of me respects the fact you've been able to clutch some wins with the lettuce dish, so I'm fine to put it in C. Plus, doing this is another necessary shot to Ganondorf.
And to C it goes. Carrying on with the Pokemon trend, we have Jigglypuff.
Never underestimate this thing. Jigglypuff's ability to sleep even harder than Joe over here can lead to a death sentence if you stand too close.
I definitely argue to put the balloon in a high tier because of its ability to match my sleepy levels alone. However, I know there's still a lot of flaws with
It's
it.
definitely more of a joke pick. But it's a joke pick with teeth. Never let your guard down against this thing. For now, let's put it at C and move on to the fat, useless king that we have next on the list.
He's a powerhouse for sure. But not only does it take 30 minutes for him to get to you, but an extra 15 just to pull one move off. He may have saved the day in subspace before that blue hedgehog came and took all the credit. But sadly, he's a bit of a punching bag. Basically what Bowser was in Melee.
It's also a shame that he reminds me so much of you, Trump.
Yep, generic fat joke. At least I'm not an old corpse.
Let's just stick him in C because of his great recovery. Now, as for Kirby, I'd argue that he's one of the most reliable fighters you could pick in this game.
Breaking recovery, powerful knockback with his mallet, and being able to steal other fighters' abilities is more broken than Joe stealing the election from me.
Did you guys hear something? Anyways, his final smash takes a few points off his chart, in my
We're
opinion.
not counting final smashes into this since we could easily just make another video on those if the viewers wanted it. But I'm going to argue that Kirby should go into A, just because it's hard to match against the #1 guy in the game. As for Link, I'm going to argue he goes into B, but with a case to get into A, he's good, but I just don't think he's on the same level as the characters we already have in there.
Fair enough.
What about Lucario?
I'm not having that trump. Lucario's aura system is pretty cool. The more damage he takes, the more powerful he becomes. His aura spheres become bigger and his hits become 10 times harder. Overall, when used correctly, this Pokemon can be an absolute weapon.
Oh yeah, you know all about weapons. Listen, the aura system is all well and good, but by the time he actually becomes a threat, my opponent has already kicked me off the stage.
It has to be the biggest skill issue I've ever heard. I'm putting Lucario in B. Deal with it. Thoughts on Lucas?
Mid. I never really used
That's
him.
only because he ran away from you in the adventure mode.
Ain't no way you just compared him to Mr. Porky.
Joe, what the hell?
Both Lucas and Ness are pretty decent characters in my opinion. They can constantly tank the damage onto you with their PK fires, and overall they've got some very nice knockbacks. Sure, their recovery does hurt them, but everyone needs to have a big weakness, I guess. I'd like to say they both deserve a B tier.
I can get behind that. Now, Luigi is an interesting one. I honestly do think he's better than his brother.
I don't know about that. I could never figure out how to properly play as
A
him.
very understandable skill issue. Luigi may take a bit more time to master, but I'd say it's well worth learning, because he honestly feels like a cheat code sometimes.
That lucky super jump attack being the prime example. It honestly felt like I was toying with the opponent whenever I played as him. 9 times out of 10, I'd find a way to get the victory with the green plumber. And for that, I think he deserves a spot in A.
What about Mario?
He's probably the most well-rounded character in the game. Nothing bad, but at the same time, nothing particularly great.
But still a fun character to use regardless. I think a high B tier will suffice for Mr. Nintendo.
Stick Marth in B2. There's nothing really special about him. But he makes up for it by being able to execute damage pretty quickly. Not to mention he can counter you with a vicious rebound just like I can.
And with that said, gentlemen,
But guys, Meta Knight has no knockback.
shut up, Broadway! Sorry, Joe. To make up for that, I'll stick game and watch and see.
What the hell do you mean C? He's at the very least a B.
Nah, screw that, Joe. He's a joke character at best. Yes, you should never underestimate him. But I'd never pick him in a serious match.
I'm just going to stick Ness in B as we agreed. But I'm putting Olimar into D with game.
Oh, what the hell, Barry, that just screams massive skill.
Listen, Joe, I agree that Barack's Olimar Brawl skills are just as bad as his topping skills when it comes to Michelle.
Damn it, Trump!
But the guy is generally outclassed by the majority of the roster. Even old man Ganon would have an easy time against him.
You're all just haters. Whatever, I can't be asked to argue about this with the two of you. Can we at least say that Peach is worth having a go with?
I hope you mean in the game, Joe.
Peach has always been a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one when it comes to Smash Bros. And Brawl is no exception. Her side smash is always useful for inflicting some decent damage and knockback, and overall I feel like you can be pretty unpredictable with her. Will a B suffice, Joe?
That's perfect. Glad to know we're on the same page again.
Now we're on to the Pokemon mascot. His Skull Bash and Thunder moves can leave quite the mark on an opponent. But Pikachu has never been my first choice when picking a character.
I look at the fighters we have in the high tiers, and I just can't think of a reason why Pikachu would be on the same level as a Fox or a Captain Falcon.
Let's stick the cute mouse next to his fellow veterans Mario and Link in high B tier then.
Pit can go in low B. Brawl was a pretty decent first appearance for him, having one of the best recoveries in the game, so you basically have no choice but to kick his ass off the screen rather than letting gravity do its work.
I'd say damage-wise is where Pitt can falter compared to the hard hitters of the game. So yeah, I'd say B is a good placement for him.
Rob goes in A.
Joe, take your pills.
Are you crazy, Donald? Rob is goated?
You guys can't be serious.
But we absolutely are. From his deadly laser, his overpowered spinning attack, his amazing recovery, and it always seems like somehow, someway, this legendary robot has a counter for any move dished out on him, at least during the times I've faced one of these.
I can't see the vision. It reminds me of the old PC the White House had before I took over, but I can see I'm outvoted here. So you guys do what you gotta do, but put Samus in B. I think she's got enough tools in her arsenal to avoid anything lower. But in my opinion, she was starting to get a bit outclassed around this time.
I'm gonna put Sheik alongside Rob if that's cool. Her speed can make her hard to counter. Plus, those needle storms can be used for quick rising damage in preparation for hitting the final blow.
I don't care enough about her to argue about this.
Oh boy, it's the man who opened the floodgates.
Oh, hell no, I would never open up the border.
Trump, you idiot. He means this was the opening for third-party characters to make their way into Smash. It certainly was a weird first pick, though.
Ah, I see. So I take it we'll be putting Snake with Meta Knight, then Barry, due to his familiarity with explosives.
Screw off Trump, I was going to say B. He can dish out some good damage, but he doesn't have the best maneuverability. It's something that can potentially cost him during key parts of a match.
I'm fine with B2 Barry. Go ahead and stick him there.
Oh great, it's the blue rat.
Donald, why do you hate Sonic?
Because King DDD was the true saber of subspace. And that all gets forgotten just because Taboo got his wings clipped by a hedgehog. A hard-working king getting overshadowed like that. It's exactly how I felt when I lost the election.
Damn, there's that sound again, guys. Barry just put Sonic in A.
I was thinking the same thing. Sonic being the fastest character in the game makes it harder to counter against him. Hell, I might have argued to put him with Meta Knight if he didn't have 2 spin dashes in his moveset. An issue Nintendo still refuses to fix with Smash Sonic 16 years later.
Couldn't have happened to a more deserving creature.
On to Squirtle, and I think he's without question the best Pokemon out of the trainer's partners. Some nice movement with his shell spin. And honestly, he can pack a bit of a punch when it comes to his harder hits.
I use Squirtle the most out of the 3, so I can vouch for what Joe is saying. The turtle still isn't anything special, though, so stick him in B.
I'm just going to stick Toon Link with the regular version since they both play the same.
Looks like we've got Trump next.
Right, so basically what you're saying is that I am every fat person on the planet. Does that make you every skeleton that's buried underground?
Jesus, guys, enough on putting Wario in low B. Can we agree on that?
That's fine. His atomic ass saves him from going any lower down on the list.
Next up is Wolf. Now, I honestly love the guy being added to the game, but I do think he could have benefited from having a more original move set compared to Fox and Falco.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing, just with a coat of wolf paint. And I'd argue he's the worst out of the 3-star Fox fighters because of this.
I never really played him, so I'll just go with you guys on this.
We're nearly there now, boys. Time for Yoshi. In my opinion, he's always been a dependable little guy.
He's basically the pseudo-fighter. Think about it. He has a pseudo-version of Kirby's Inhale, a pseudo-version of the Bowser Bomb, as well as a pseudo-version of the Spin Dash. I'm not saying we take points away from him for that, I just thought it was pretty cool.
Actually, I think you summed Yoshi up in a nutshell. He's pretty cool. The original silly guy who you know you're always going to have a fun time using in matches.
Very true. I think B tier is most appropriate for this awesome dinosaur. And as for Zelda and Zero Suit Samus, how would you guys feel about me putting them both in B to close this list off?
I'll give you Samus Barry, but you're going to have to make a convincing case for Zelda.
All right, fine. So my reasoning has actually been quite a recent revelation. I was facing her using Mario when I decided to go back and play Brawl the other week. And I must admit, she almost had a counter for everything I gave her.
Sorry, Barry, but this just sounds like a skill issue on your part.
Even crazier when you find out that Barry faces level 5 CPUs at the very most.
Shut the hell up with your fabrications, Donald. Anyway, I decided afterwards to give her a try in a couple of matches, and I ended up kicking some serious ass with her.
Okay. And in how many of these matches did you transform into shit?
Ban on Heart None. That was the rule I set for myself when I used her. That fireball of hers can be deadly. And she's much more nimble than what I gave her credit for. So now when I look at this list, I have to ask myself, can I really put her in the same tier as the likes of Charizard and Ivysaur, who I know in my heart are considerably worse?
I don't agree with you, Barry. So I would like to propose a deal with you here. I will allow you to put Zelda in very low B, but only if you create a proper S tier category for Fox. Meta Knight can still have his own tier for all I care. But as a Mango fan, I can't in good conscience allow the leader of Star Fox to be underappreciated like that.
Now hold on, I want in on this. You can have that Trump, but only if we put Sonic in this new tier too.
You've said that with malicious intent. You know I don't like that blue rodent.
It's got nothing to do with you. Fox's best quality is his speed, right? Well, Sonic is the personification of that. As the fastest character in the game, it only seems fair that he too gets a higher spot.
Come on, Trump, just say yes. We all win in this case.
Oh, whatever, just do it. I didn't even want to do this list to begin with. So do what you want.
Well, there we go. Probably the worst Brawl Fighters ranking you've ever seen in your lives. But we want to try and branch out of just wrestling content. And hopefully talking about other games is the way to do it.
I don't know. After this disaster of a video, I reckon we should just stick to what we're strongest at.
If you being president again is us at our strongest, then yeah, we got to branch out now.
Get over here, bite!